She said, open the refrigerator, take one of your boobs, stick it in there, and slam the door shut. Who tells that to a person who needs a breast exam? Hello everyone, my name is Dana, and today we're going to talk about getting your first mammogram. So first, let me share with you why I decided that I needed a mammogram. I am in my 30s, and a little while ago, I was experiencing some pain in my chest. I don't know how you are, but I am I don't want to say secretive, but I don't share what's going on with me often. I am very open with my mother, but I was dealing with this for a while, and I think being nervous and scared is what prevented me from saying anything. I finally brought it up one day to my mom, and I love my mom because she asks a lot of questions, asked me if I did my exams that we did, like she taught us about in the shower, and I'm like, yeah, nothing, they're just really hurting differently. Sometimes you experience things with your chest that are normal, like tenderness and just different pain that you might feel during your cycle, but this was different for me. Because it was different for me, that's what concerned me. It wasn't like it was just going away, it was just persistent pain that I was unfamiliar with. So I told my mom, she's the one who suggested that I get a mammogram if, you know, it is to that point to where it's not like it's uncomfortable. So I finally decided it was time to get a mammogram. For some people that might seem too late. In your 30s, your first mammogram. Well, yeah, it was my first mammogram. I will say I was nervous about getting a mammogram, and let me tell you why. I was under the impression that mammograms hurt. My mom would tell the story about how someone told her about how a mammogram feels, and I wanted to know, how does a mammogram feel? Y'all want to know what this lady told me? She said, open a refrigerator. She said, open a refrigerator, take one of your boobs, stick it in there, and slam the door shut. Who tells that to a person who needs a breast exam? That is the story that's stuck in my head, and I'm like, why would you tell me this story? But it was told to her from a comical perspective. That is what was told to me, and that has stuck in my head in terms of how mammogram felt. And I didn't want to feel no pain. Leave me in the pain out of it, okay? Let me tell y'all, a mammogram does not feel like that. To me, it was very simple and very easy. So I'll walk you through exactly what happened. Backtrack. Felt pain in my breast. Found a physician because I moved back in state, so I did not have a primary care physician. I started going to the person my mom went to. I told her I wanted a mammogram. I wasn't asking, I told her I want one. Sometimes that's what you gotta do. You have to advocate for yourself and tell them what you want, and I'm not leaving it till I get that. I did tell her about the pain I was experiencing in my chest, and I told her I wanted a mammogram. So we did blood work, and we also scheduled an appointment for me to get a mammogram. Appointment scheduled, now it is the day of the mammogram. When I went in, I was sent to a room to change into this lovely smock. You just have nothing on underneath so that your chests are available, but it's wrapped like a wrap dress, so it kind of goes over. Now, when you have that on and it's your turn, you're waiting in this room and until it's your turn to go into the area with the machines that does the mammogram. So it was my turn, and I was called to go in. I see the machine. I snapped a picture. I see the machine. I'm like, okay, this is it. And she gives me a little of what's gonna happen and how she's gonna do it and change positions. I have larger chests, larger than my mother's. So depending on how big your chest is, it's definitely going to feel different. Because I have larger chests, they will not be compressed and pulled as much as someone who has smaller chests, and they have to try to pull and work with what they have. Because I have bigger chests, it did not hurt at all. I was like in no pain. It did not hurt. Unless I just have a high pain tolerance. It was slightly uncomfortable just because who mashes boobs? No one mashes boobs every day on a regular. So that's the only uncomfortable thing, but other than the boob mashing, it was not an issue. So as I'm in there, they give you these small little nipple covers, which are more like detectors because they're not large, they're very small. And it's basically just for the machine to detect where the nipple is, and you can see it through the x-ray. They do you at a few different angles. Some are frontwards, some are like this, some are like this. They do different angles of your boobs so they can get different images of the tissue. Once all of the images were done, it was about I think like 4 to 8 different arrangements, maybe like 4 on each side in different positions, 4 a piece, so around 8 total if I'm not mistaken. After that, that was it for that portion. We were going to another room where I would lay flat on a bed, wait for the images, and we're going to talk about what's in the images. It looks like an ultrasound machine that if the detection saw anything, we will look at it on the ultrasound machine to see if there's anything there that is of concern. So we have the ultrasound machine and the images come back, and there are areas that might be pointed out for the tech to look at in greater detail. So for me, there was one area where the tech needed to look at my boobs. I'm not sure which side it was. I think it was my right side in greater detail due to what was on the images. With the machine, she put the gel on me and looked for this picture from the images to find the spot that they wanted to look at in more detail. It was about the size of, I think, no more than a grain of rice. From the ultrasound, she said there was no concern from it. So I was happy about that. Overall, my entire mammogram, there was no concern or no signs that I need to be concerned about. That little area, they said it was so small and there wasn't anything in particular that was of concern for them. So I did not see the actual doctor, but there was one that reviewed the images from my mammogram. That is my mammogram experience. I hope it was helpful. If you're thinking about getting a mammogram or concerned about how it feels, what it's about, quick summary: it did not hurt for me. I was not in pain. I was slightly uncomfortable, but it was not unbearable. It did not last long at all. It was super fast. Overall, I suggest that you get one just to soothe any worries that you might have and just to stay up to routine care for your health. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any additional questions about my mammogram experience, I will gladly let you know, because if this helps you get to a doctor and get any questions answered, I want to help you push that along for you. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.